Good afternoon and welcome back. Celtic won away to Aberdeen. Game day two of the SPFL season, and Celtic are currently sitting top of the league and looking down on the Rangers. It wasn't the best of games to watch. Aberdeen did set up with a 4-2-3-1 formation, and it was more like a 4-5-1 formation when you see the way that the game panned out. But Celtic did get the goal in the 27th minute with an absolutely fantastic cross by Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney did make an impact in the game. Fantastic cross in. Benji puts the ball into the back of the net, which Celtic head into the first half, sitting at first half 1-0 up. Then come in the second half, Aberdeen played the game pretty much the same way they did before, but there was a ball for Benji that then put out to Rio Hatate. Rio Hatate, Benji was on the build up to the Rio Hatate goal. Rio Hatate scores an absolute screamer of a goal, as Rio Hatate does. He was then subbed off, but it's all about game time. It's all about giving the players that were sitting on the bench a little bit of game time, because let's say we've got to rotate the players over the next couple of weeks because there's a lot of important games coming up. Next up is the cup game. That'll be interesting. That'll take care of itself. But who was your man of the match today? Who was your man of the match? I've got three players that I have picked that I thought have potential to be man of the match. James Forrest was absolutely phenomenal on the wing. Everything that's good about Celtic going forward comes through James Forrest at this current time of the season. We're only 2 games in, but James Forrest for me was phenomenal. Benji having that free role in attacking, but also coming back and sitting in the holding midfield role with Callum McGregor is a little bit of ingenious tactical work from Brendan Rodgers that isn't really getting the plaudits that I think it should. And then there's Kieran Tierney for what he brings to the game and the crossing. And once we get players that figure out that Kieran Tierney is an amazing crosser of the ball, and they start making the runs, this guy just shown it. The brilliant cross for Kieran Tierney. It's a cross that he's done all day long throughout his Celtic career when he was here the first time. And I tell you one thing, he's just slipped back into Celtic. It's like wearing a glove, and there's that cross for Rio Hatate. Right in the corner, postage stamp stuff. People were saying, get Rio Hatate off. Bring on Luke McCowan. He's way better. Rio Hatate's pish. That's why you keep Rio Hatate on. And there's James Forrest and Benji talking to the media.
What a feeling to celebrate in front of the crowd with the game controversy. In terms of the game itself, do you feel Celtic were always very comfortable today?
It's not going to pick that up.
I think we had the control.
Benji says that we were controlled. Solid performance. It's a solid performance against a dogged team.
Goal scoring, you had a very good season last season. Is this something now that you expect to continue now that Celtic can contribute? Yeah, I always come a little bit from behind.
He did not just say I always come from behind, and then my skies just went playback. James Forrest says that he's James Forrest talking about Benji, saying he's a confident player and you can tell that he's going to score goals. James says it's amazing being back out there, and Sky's now decided to just freeze on the telly. James Forrest talking about his injury this time last season. Just keep working hard. He needs to shave that bum fluff off, doesn't it? It's probably taken him about 2 or 3 years for him to get that growth. Yeah, let's just cut out. Let me just come out this. midweek games coming up, and it's all about just getting game time and getting stuff into your legs. As James Forrest says, we've got loads of important games coming up, and for me, I'm happy with today because it's 4 points clear already of certain teams within the SPFL. Let me just get the table up on the screen. Let's see if we can do this. I'll just do a screenshot, it'll be a lot quicker and easier. Aberdeen are rooted to the bottom of the table on -4 already. -4 of a goal difference, while Celtic are sitting on a goal difference of +3 and 6 points. Oh shit, I don't want that. Close that back down. And we'll get that one. This one. Replace asset. There we go. And that should get that there. That's the SPFL table. That is all school whiffed. Jesus God. It's not showing the teams or anything. There we go. There are the teams. When you look at the top, why has it got 2 of them? 3. Jesus God. Having a bit of a meltdown here. Celtic are top of the table. We'll have a look at there. And sitting on 6 points. Livingston are sitting in second position on 4 points. Hearts, who are still to play today. Hearts could potentially still go top of the league today if they were to win. Don't know who they play, don't really care. Hibernian could also go top of the table today if they score more than 2 goals. And it makes it interesting at this time of the season. Rangers are in 5th position. Will they still be in 5th position come the end of play today? Motherwell have played 2 games. They are on 2 points also. Dundee United are on 1 point. They've played 1 game. Kilmarnock are on 1 point also. And then the rest of the teams at the bottom have all played 2 games in total. Dundee are sitting on 1 point, St Mirren on 1 point, Falkirk on 1 point, and Aberdeen are rooted to the bottom of the SPFL. That is your SPFL league table. And I've got to say, Celtic being there at the top, it doesn't mean a lot at this time of the season. But what it does do is all about just gaining momentum, because there is a game coming up where we may have to travel a good bit of distance before and after the game. And let's say if Celtic do need to do that, we are going to be up against it, because an 11-hour journey for the players. Dundee versus Kilmarnock, says Michelle, and Hibs. Dundee United versus Hearts, Hibs versus Kilmarnock. Oh, who do you want to win that? To be fair, I'd want them all to be draws if they could. James Beattie says Friday Night Lights coming up, the League Cup. Yep, Friday night in the League Cup. That's going to be fantastic. Johnson should be on that list, Baz. Do you think so? Do you think Alistair Johnson? I mean, he was good, but I think that Jamesy Forrest and him just haven't got it going yet. Do you know, they've not got the togetherness. And I think it's because Jamesy Forrest isn't used to having a good fullback overlapping him and making runs. Jamesy Forrest is used to getting the ball and just battering down the side himself. But I'm sure that will all fall into place. As it stands, that mob could be lower in the league this evening. Yep, they could that. Adam Ida are going to no good at all. Benji, let's talk about all things good and all things Benji. He's a fantastic player that didn't cost us a hell of a lot of money when you see it. And he's a player that scored a lot of goals last season. He was the man of the match today. James Forrest, a close second. Kieran Tierney, he was taken off towards the end of the second half. It's all about giving players game time. For me, I'm not really overly worried about it. CCV had a good game. Yep, Scales getting booked. Does what Scales does. Siglo Scales played well, even left back, caused havoc for the opener when it's crossed. If Dundee United and Kelly both win, that lot will drop to 7th. Well, here we hope for that then, and just hope it's not a big scoreline for. Well, that would be interesting if it did happen. 1.3 million for Benji. Yep, an absolute steal. But remember, we got Benji at that point because he only had a year left on his contract, which was lucky for us. And maybe that's what Celtic are trying to do when it comes to the rest of the players in the transfer window. 10 points clear. Let's do this, Celtic. We need to show the 69ers that you can't buy your way into our league. People will say that Celtic have bought the league for years, and that Rangers are only trying to do what Celtic do. It just doesn't work. Scales had a few bad passes. Apart from that, it was okay. Yep, I'd say that was fair. There was lots of players that were... Listen, Aberdeen set up to not get beat. It's as simple as that. And it didn't work. I said at the beginning of the game, if this is the way that Aberdeen are going to go into this game and into the season, Aberdeen are going to be in for a fright, because there's a lot of good football teams out there. There's a lot of teams that like to get the ball down and play football. Aberdeen were just trying to kick Celtic off the park the first half. The referee was a bit lackadaisical when it came to throwing cards about, but you're going to expect that from John Beaton. And I'm not really wanting to talk about Aberdeen, because at the end of the day, Celtic set out with a game play to just go into the game slowly. Do you know, there was no rush to the game today, because Aberdeen were the home team. Aberdeen had to come out and push on to us, and they didn't do that. Right from the start, the very first minute, Aberdeen were sitting in and sitting back and saying, well, you come on to us, we'll hit you on the break. You can do that all day long with Celtic, but you've got to be a really good team. Footballers are no, I'm not. Pay their taxes and debts. Don't steal poppy money. Jesus God. Anyway, Swede's definitely a scoop. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Benji score. I want to mark my words. I think I'm not even worried about that game, because Celtic have got a lot of games before we get there, and the matches that we've got up and coming. I mean, the Aberdeen game today, yes, it was always going to be a hard game. It was never going to be an easy game, but we got the result. And I did say that, I said before the game it would be 2-0. Get a goal in the first half. Try and get Aberdeen to come out a bit in the second half. You'll get a goal in the second half. Falkirk next week will be a complete different kettle of fish, because Falkirk will know it's a cup game. Will we see more of Shin Yamada in that game? Let's hope that we do. Will Johnny Kenny play in that game? Well, I'm actually hoping that Johnny Kenny plays, because he's been the striker that's potentially in a bit more form. It does show that Celtic do not have a number one striker as it stands. Johnny Kenny will get put out on loan. Shin Yamada will be third choice striker. Adam Ida will be second choice striker. And if we do not bring in a number one striker between now and the end of the window, Daisen Maeda will be put back into that central role as our number one striker, and I think he is the best man for it at the club at the moment, because the two guys that were on the pitch today, neither are number one strikers. We then go into a Wednesday game, the first Wednesday game of the 2025-26 season. On the 20th of August, we do play in the Champions League. We'll find out next week who it is that we play, and I still think that Celtic are going to rue the fact that we did not call off the Livingston game, because on the Sunday after the Livingston game, Celtic will have to fly out, because it's going to be about a 9-hour flight for Celtic to fly out to almost China, isn't it, where they are? It's you could probably get to China quicker than you can get to Kazakhstan. But anyway, Celtic do have that game in the Champions League, with Livingston in the SPFL the week after, and then we're back in the Champions League playoff game away from home. We need to get the business done. Brendan Rodgers needs to make sure that as many players as possible has as much game time as possible, because when it comes to the game at the end of the month, I can't see that lot being on an unbeaten run for so long. And if they do, that's just the type of game that's going to get them up and for it, and get them highly motivated. The stats from the game today: Celtic had 13 shots on target. It wasn't a lot of shots considering what Celtic were achieving towards the tail end of last season. Last season, Celtic were getting around about 20 to 25 shots on goal. Today we got 13, which isn't too bad. 4 of those shots were on target. Possession for Celtic was 72%. Passing, the passes were 748. Pass accuracy was at 8 to 9%. There was 11 fouls committed by Celtic, 15 by Aberdeen. 3 yellow cards to Celtic, 2 in quick succession. And I think that, I think that the referee was trying to level up going forward, hoping that Celtic maybe get a few more bookings and hopefully some players banned from a certain game at the end of the month. Anyway, Aberdeen had 2 yellow cards, Celtic had 3. There was no red cards. Offside, Aberdeen 5 times, Celtic the 1. When it came to corners, Aberdeen had 1 corner, Celtic had 6, but Celtic did not do anything from the corners. It's something that has to be rectified going into the season. I think that we do need to score more from corners. If we can get this poll up to 200, was that 148 votes? There's been over 600 people on the live, but there is only 148 votes. Who was your man of the match today? Was it Jamesy Forrest, who's on 30%? Was it Benji for everything that he did today in the holding midfield role and going forward and ultimately his goal? Or was it Kieran Tierney for what he did? The majority are going, let's just finish at 150. I'm not waiting any longer. I'm going to the beach. Just saying. Anyway, we will jump in and get some of the comments. Relying on a 34-year-old isn't cutting it for me. Woofed. Aramida, God help us. Yeah, it is the case of that. We'll be playing in Bratislava. Paul Burns reckons that we'll be playing in Bratislava. Paul, if you watched the first game, it's not... Bratislava will need to play 100 times better. 100 times better, because the Bratislava keeper kept that game at 1-0. It should have been 2-0 as far as I'm concerned. They did have a goal offside. But anyway, we'll wait and see. Poor Ian Aberdeen currently having his prediction meltdown. Yeah, he is, isn't he? He's a good lad, though. He is a good lad. That was a great result today. Chilpel, you get the last comment. It was a fantastic result. The fact that we are currently sitting top of the league, it's all about winning, and it's just about winning consistently. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.